What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of The Block is Hot. In this episode, we're going to be going over a passive income generating CNFT, and that is the Mutant family. So the Mutant Crocs and the Mutant Toads, as well as their new marketplace, Epoch art. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how exactly you can stake these Crocs and Toads and how much rewards you can actually get from doing so, since so many of the different figures online are just misleading and inaccurate. I'm also going to be doing a breakdown of the Epoch art marketplace and giving you guys my opinions on whether or not I think it can compete with JPEG Store and some of the other major competitors out there. But without further ado, let's get into it. So what exactly are Mutant Crocs and Mutant Toads? Well, guys, they are two different projects, two different collections, all under the same umbrella, which is the Mutant family. There are currently 6,000 of these mutated Crocs or Mutant Crocs, and then there are 5,000 of these Mutant Toads. Now, the artwork isn't blow me away or anything crazy like that, but the big claim to fame with these guys is that half of the royalties from Mutant Toads, as well as Mutant Crocs, as well as half of the fees generated from this Epoch art marketplace, which is the marketplace they created, are going to go back to holders that are currently staking their Crocs and Toads in their Mutant DAO. The Mutant DAO is actually where we're able to stake our Mutant Crocs as well as our Mutant Toads. And if you see here, guys, there are currently 7,747 mutants being staked between the Toads and the Crocs. And over here, there are 3,997 that are actually eligible to get these distributed rewards. You have to be staking, I believe, at least 4 epochs, which is an epoch is 5 days. So over 20 days before you can start getting the rewards. And the first reward share is about 24,000 ADA that are going to be going to these 4,000 individuals. And that ends up being something like 6 ADA to 7 ADA per person. This website is honestly beautifully done, and there aren't many projects out there on the CNFT side of things that actually have a working staking thing. I know that Cardano Croc Club does, and I know there's a couple others, but the way they designed this has been absolutely flawless. In order to stake your mutants and toads, all you have to do is connect your wallet that has a mutant toad or mutant croc. You'll be able to see it right here. You click on it, you hit stake, you put your password in, and boom, you are ready to go. And in order to see your mutants that are already being staked, you literally just have to click on your mutant NFT stakes. I click on that right here. I can see that my mutant is currently being staked and that I won't be getting the rewards until Epoch 332. The rewards that you can get from staking on this Mutant DAO are not going to be as high as they are for this first release. And the reason is because there's only 4,000 being staked right now that are actually eligible, and the amount of ADA they're giving away is actually way higher than what it's going to be on a regular basis. And that's why I knew I needed to make this video, because I have all these people being like, oh, you can make 7 ADA every single month as passive income, you know, buy these Crocs right now, start staking them. And it's like, no, guys, it's not the case. It's actually going to be much lower than that going forward for a couple different reasons. The way the royalties work, the way the fees work, is that the Toads and Crocs have a 5% royalty. Every single sale on the secondary market, there's a 5% royalty. They are taking half of that, which is 2.5%, and then that's going to be divided by everyone that is staking and eligible to stake. The second way that we're getting money here is from Epoch Art Marketplace. Right now, there is a 1% fee on Epoch Art Marketplace because they're trying to be competitive and they're trying to take people from, JPEG Store, which charges 2%. They are taking that 1% right now, and they are giving half of that back to people that are staking, so about 0.5%. So we can expect in the future that it's going to be 1%, but right now it is that 0.5%, and then it is that 2.5% from all the Mutant Toads and Mutant Crocs. So how much is this really going to add up, and how is this all going to play out, in my opinion? So let's break down the numbers, guys. First thing we need to do is we need to find out how much volume these Mutant Toads and these Mutant Crocs are actually getting. And in the past month, they have gotten a combined total of about 200,000 ADA. So if we do 200,000 ADA and we times this by 0.05, which is the amount of royalties they charge, we get 10,000 ADA. But then we have to divide that by 2, which is 5,000 ADA. And that is how much ADA is going to be split up between everyone that is eligible to stake on a monthly basis. Before we jump into the marketplace, I also want to bring up, guys, that the amount of volume going into this project has actually been pretty good this past month. And if you look here, the average price for these toads just on the 3rd, which was not even a week ago, was $135, and now we're all the way up to about $277, $280, which has just been a big pump up. And I think a lot of it is because all of the people out there are like, oh my God, I can make all this passive income from this, let me buy into this project. And then you also have Mutant Crocs doing a very similar thing, especially over this past month and especially over this past week, where it went from $233 all the way to about $350 as the average price. So I wrote down here that toads literally had a 2.15x and these Crocs literally had a 1.5x just in the past 5 days alone. Now, the second part of this fee structure here, guys, is the amount of money that we can make in fees from Epoch Marketplace that are going to flow back into this whole pool that is going to be divided from everyone. And on CNFT, we can actually see which marketplaces are getting the most volume. And if we look at the past 30 days, you'll see that JPEG Store is dominating the game with almost 36 million ADA worth of volume this month alone. And then you have SpaceBuds, which is just specific to SpaceBuds. You have CNFT, which is the next largest marketplace that covers more than one project. Then you have Pixels. And then in 5th place, we have Epoch Art at about 400,000 ADA. Now that we know they had 400,000 ADA worth of volume in this past month, we have to calculate how much money in fees are actually going to go towards that pool that is going to be distributed. So we take 400,000 ADA and then we times that by 0.01, which is the fee that they're taking. We get 4,000 ADA, and then we have to divide this by 2 because the mutants are only going to get half of that. And that leads us to 2,000 ADA. So now if we add up 2,000 ADA with that 5,000 ADA that we're getting from the royalties, we're only getting 7,000 ADA, which is going to be in that pool and split between all the Crocs and Toads that are currently staking. If you remember, guys, there are currently 7,747 of these mutants staking right now, and we would have only gotten 7,000 ADA to distribute to everyone from the whole entire last 30 days. So by the time you try to send ADA to all these different people and you have that 0.2 ADA fee for every single transaction, you're really going to get only like 0.5 to 0.6 ADA, which is very insignificant. Now, I want to bring up a couple points here, guys. Point number one is that I have to give a shout out to Mutants and Epoch Art Marketplace, in the sense that they're providing a level of utility that you don't see in the majority of projects. The fact that they have this DAO set up with the voting already in place, essentially, they have the staking where you're actually able to get ADA rather than some crappy utility token that doesn't really have utility, and the fact that they developed a marketplace that are going to split fees is honestly a very great job, and they're doing big things. Now, as far as how much money you're actually going to be making from this from a passive income, it's not going to be much, guys, and it's not going to be much for a while. They really need to see the Epoch Art Marketplace get a lot more volume. The better the Epoch Art Marketplace does, the more money they're going to get from fees, and the more money that are going to be going into these Crocs and into these Toads in order to basically profit off of those fees. And then because more people are getting into the Mutant Crocs and Mutant Toads, that is going to be more royalties that are split between everyone. But everything, I mean literally everything, is depending on this Epoch Art Marketplace, because let's be honest, guys, the art is subpar. I know they have 3 more mutant drops in the future, and who knows if you're going to be able to stake those as well. I haven't asked them about that. They haven't really mentioned that from what I know, and I know they're making a card game in the future, and I know they have a strong community. So realize that there's more parts into this than just the passive income you're making. But the whole point that I'm trying to make here, guys, is all of these people saying, oh, you're going to be making so much money. That is not the case, and that is probably not going to be the case for a while now. And I also want to bring up here that everyone that's comparing this to CNFT and JPEG Store and how everyone moved from CNFT to JPEG Store and trying to make it look like it's apples to apples is literally not a fair comparison. CNFT sucked. I hated it. The server sucked. They never did anything to improve it. And the worst part of this, guys, was that you had to send ADA to someone, and hope that they would send the NFT back. And a lot of times they wouldn't, and you would have your ADA locked up for 48 hours just to not get the NFT, and now the price is completely different. And then JPEG Store came along, and it was smart contracts off the rip. So there was a demand to move over. And the big thing is with Epoch Art Marketplace, they are going to have to provide something that is going to convince people to move over. What is proprietary? What is going to separate them that JPEG Store currently isn't doing right now for them to get some of the market share from people like me that are invested into a lot of different projects and don't necessarily care or are super loyal to just one project by itself. And to, continue with this, if you look at other chains like Ethereum and Solana, OpenSea dominates Ethereum. And yes, there's people on Rarible, but those are the major two. And then if you look at Solana, there's Magic Eden and then there's Solana Art, but almost no one uses Solana Art. They almost all use Magic Eden. So it's one of those things where there isn't a lot of space for a ton of different marketplaces, yet there are so many different marketplaces trying to come in and compete right now. Now that rant's out of the way, guys, let's compare the 4 different marketplaces. And yes, I said 4 because Ghost Chain just released their free roam marketplace today, and this is just another competitor entering the ranks that Epoch Art is going to have to compete with. But let's take a look at Epoch Art. How do I feel about Epoch Art? Well, guys, I actually think this website is really fast and it's a lot more smooth than JPEG Store when it comes to buying things and when it comes to listing things. They also have just a different layout, but one thing I want to point out, guys, is I don't know if I'm an idiot, but I have not been able to scroll with any of these, and it's honestly really frustrating because I haven't been able to do this for weeks, and maybe I'm just an idiot, but there are going to be other idiots out there if I can't figure out how to do it myself. Now, the big thing that I want to point out with Epoch Art Marketplace is that they do have less fees than JPEG Store by 1%, and the big thing that I do like about them is that they have the ability to buy bundles. Now, bundles are very important, especially when it comes to collection projects where you need multiple. So for example, Pavia. Let's say I wanted to buy a Pavia estate. That's going to be a pain in the ass to be able to buy that on JPEG Store, and that's going to be a pain in the ass as far as trying to sell that. Same thing with an overexposed set, or some of these other land projects where maybe you want a whole collection. So I do like how they're doing bundles, and that is the major thing that is separating them. As far as just the overall speed of being able to list stuff, it is incredibly smooth. I also really like the way the dashboard looks. When you connect your wallet, they actually break down the NFTs you have into these different categories, such as, splitting up your Mandrills, splitting up your Yetis, splitting up all of these different things. So I do like that, and I do think that's a step up compared to JPEG Store, even though JPEG Store just recently updated their whole profile page and added ways to have your contact information, which I do think is a big deal, just so that you can, reach out to someone if you want to give them an offer on Discord, for example. The one problem that I do have with Epoch Art is that a lot of these projects are significantly higher on here than they are on JPEG Store, and almost all of the volume that this marketplace is getting is with Mutant Toads and is with Mutant Crocs. You're not really seeing too much volume with a lot of these other projects. I mean, Space Apes is 150 on here, and they're only going for 69 or 70 ADA on JPEG Store. You have Apes Primates that are way higher on here. Literally almost every single project on here. Old Money is only going for about 500 ADA, and it's 1333 on here. So the big challenge that Epoch Art is going to face is actually getting volume over from JPEG Store onto this marketplace. And if you don't have enough volume, then it doesn't matter if they're saving 1% in fees, because they're literally going to be spending 10 to 20% more on here if there aren't enough people listing these different items. Another thing that I do like about this marketplace is that they have an upcoming page where I'm able to see all these upcoming projects, and I can click on it and I can see the website, I can see the total supply, I can see the mint price, I can see the time. That is super nice, just in the standpoint that I don't have to go to another website such as a calendar. It's all in-house. Now, all that being said, have they convinced me with what they're offering over JPEG Store to switch over to Epoch Art? And the answer is no, guys. The big thing that I would have focused on if I was Epoch Art was an analytics page where you can get more detailed information about these different projects. Because if you look at JPEG Store, that is the one main thing they're lacking right now. They have the volume, they have the amount of listings, but they don't have a really great analytics tool where I can really monitor where these different prices are going. They just recently added this price history tool, but if you click on a specific Clay Nation, for example, they've been saying coming soon for the price history and coming soon for the trading history for the longest time. So if I'm Epoch Art Marketplace, I would have focused on something like analytics that JPEG Store doesn't have, rather than trying to lower fees, because it doesn't matter if the fees are lower if no one is selling on there and there isn't enough volume. Now, comparing Epoch Art to JPEG Store might not be a fair comparison, because to be honest with you guys, it doesn't have to be the next JPEG Store. As long as it gets more volume and more market share, it is going to bring more money to everyone that has Mutant Crocs and Mutant Toads staked. So right now it might only have 1% of the overall market share, but let's say it got to CNFT's level and it got to 6%. Well, now all of a sudden, instead of 2,000 ADA being split, now because it's 6 times bigger, now all of a sudden that's 12,000 ADA being split. And let's say they jump those fees up to 2%, now all of a sudden that is 24,000 ADA being split, instead of the 2,000 ADA that we're currently getting right now with the 1% fee and only having 1% of the market share. So we have to realize that it doesn't necessarily have to beat JPEG Store. As far as comparing it to CNFT, I have like some sort of weird hate for CNFT, and I know I'm a little biased. I just had so many nightmares of trying to buy projects before they had the smart contracts that I can't make a non-hateful opinion on this, but they have improved. It has gotten faster, and they are offering bundles, and it doesn't really look like they aren't doing anything that Epoch Art is, rather than just having an upcoming page. Now, the last marketplace that I want to bring up here, guys, is Free Roam from Ghost Chain, and it actually just came out today. And I've been waiting to make this video until this project came out so I could give a better comparison. And guess what, guys? This looks clean. It is incredibly fast. It has all of these different ways that you can sort collections that I feel like is actually sorting better than Epoch Art. And on top of that, guys, guess what they have? They have an analytics tab. So what are they doing? They're having an open CNFT-like tool / infrastructure built into their marketplace. And this is exactly what I think Epoch Art should have focused on. This is what I've been looking for. They have a way to sort this by 24 hours, by 7 days, by 30 days. Very, very similar to OpenCNFT. And we can see their market cap, which you can't see on CNFT tools. And you can see the volume, the changes in volume, the amount of holders. You can also go to trending and you can see the amount of volume increase, as well as the price increase, as well as the amount have sold recently, as well as the amount of volatility. Like, this is exactly what I was looking for Epoch Art to do, because this is something that is going to give them a competitive advantage. Like, I don't know if you guys ever watch Shark Tank, but a lot of times they ask is like, okay, like, what are you offering? What is proprietary with you guys? Like, what is going to be different? Are you just a copy trying to do something different in order to get more market share? Are you going to provide some sort of different piece of information? And that is what Free Roam is doing. And they also have this calendar function, which they're going to be adding very, very soon. That's going to be similar to Epoch Art. And they also have an amazing wallet indicator that literally looks through your wallet. It's saying that right now, if it calculated the floor of my trading wallet, that not only is it worth 13.9 thousand ADA, but it's worth 14.3 thousand. So that's absolutely awesome. And then it breaks down, hey, you know, these chilled Kongs, you have 5, the floor is 822 right now, that's about 4,000 ADA. You have these smooth Yetis, you have 10 in this wallet, that's about 4,000 ADA. Like, this is super nice, and they have a way to see your listings, to see your activity, to see the tokens. And like, the whole point that I'm bringing this up here, guys, is that there is so much more competition now than just CNFT. Like, CNFT had all these problems. The reason CNFT flopped and the reason JPEG Store was able to get all this volume is JPEG Store had a solution to a problem. We have smart contracts where you can instantly buy this and you don't have to worry about sending your ADA to someone and having your ADA locked up for 24 to 48 hours just for them not to send you that CNFT. And that's why they were able to dominate and get all this market share. And it's going to be very tough for these other marketplaces, even Free Roam, to be able to compete with JPEG Store just because no one has any problems. Like, at the end of the day, guys, if I have a problem with JPEG Store not having analytics, I can always go to OpenCNFT. It's really not that big of a deal. But obviously, having multiple of those features all in one ecosystem like Free Roam is awesome. And another point I want to bring up here, and I know I'm kind of jumping around, is that CNFT Jungle is an amazing analytics tool. What is CNFT Jungle doing right now that I know of because I've been talking to the owner of CNFT Jungle? They are completely making an amazing analytics infrastructure for JPEG Store right now as we speak. So how in the world are we going to be able to convince more people to go to these other marketplaces? And I'm not shitting on Epoch, I'm not shitting on CNFT, I'm not shitting on free roam, but I am genuinely asking this question to everyone that is basically shilling their different projects. What are they going to do that is going to take someone like me that deals a lot in volume and cares about liquidity? What are you going to do to take me out of your marketplace? How are you going to get that done? And if you can genuinely answer that, but right now the answer that I'm getting, and the reason I'm making this video, the answer I'm getting to go on Epoch Art is, hey man, you know, if you go on Epoch Art and you have these Crocs and Toads, that money is then going to flow back into those Crocs and Toads. And I agree, that's dope. But what if I don't give a crap about Crocs and Toads, right? Which is 95% of people, because most people don't have every single project, and Crocs and Toads aren't as well known. Before I make my last point here, I definitely want to make a price comparison between CNFT and Epoch Art, because I do think that if Epoch Art continues to develop their marketplace and does a better job at marketing and really refines this, that it could get to the point that CNFT is at that 6%. Even though I think free roam is a massive, massive competitor that just came online, so that could potentially change things too. But right now, CNFT is 2.5 million, so let's just do 2.5 million here, and then let's say that they upped it to 2% rather than 1%, we'd be looking at about 50,000 ADA, and then we have to divide that by 2, which is 25,000 ADA. Now, right now, the royalties that we're getting from those Crocs and Toads are 10,000 divided by 2 is 5,000. But let's just say that because the marketplace is doing better, that instead of getting 10,000 ADA, let's just say that doubled to 20,000 ADA because the marketplace is doing better and these are going to make more money. So 20,000 divided by 2 is 10,000 ADA. So now we're looking at about 35,000 ADA. Right now, there's 7,700 people that are currently staking that are going to start getting those rewards. So let's just say that number didn't change, even though I think it would be a lot higher. We would be looking at 4.5 ADA a month, or right now, a little under $5 a month from your Mutant Toads and Crocs. That 4.5 ADA number doesn't sound like a lot, but we also have to take into consideration, guys, that I am very bullish on CNFTs, and I think the market volume for CNFTs could be 50 times higher, 100 times higher this year alone, and who knows in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, right? So we have to realize that volume could go up a lot. So even if Epoch Art still only had 1% of the market share, well, if the market went up 100x, that would still be 100 times more money than it's currently making right now. We also have to realize that ADA is only $1 and we're getting paid in ADA, and ADA could potentially be $5, $10, $20, $50, $100 in the future. So we have to take that into consideration as well. And we also have to take into consideration, guys, that this is an NFT project that is giving you the art, even though it's not crazy art, is giving you the community, and is also giving you the DAO and a tremendous amount of utility, and a lot of other NFT projects haven't been doing that. So even though we can break down these numbers and kind of crap on it and be like, hey, that's really not that much ADA, you have to admit that the utility they're providing is absolutely insane, especially compared to a lot of the other competitors that are just doing art or merch or these random giveaways and not really doing much. Overall, guys, I really do like this project and everything they're doing, and I might sound like a complete asshole going over this, but I need to remind everyone here that I am going to be 100% honest with every single video that I'm making, and when I'm looking at these different investments, I have to be emotionless and I have to be analytical, and the moment that you have emotion coming in, and the moment you start listening to other people and not doing your research, is the moment you get screwed, because the truth of the matter is, guys, is those toads are 2.5 times higher, and those Crocs are literally 1.5 times higher. Literally since like 4 days ago, and the whole reason is because this first distribution is like 6 or 7 ADA, and now everyone, without doing any math, is blindly listening to other people and assuming that that's how much ADA they're gonna get on a monthly basis, or potentially 10, 20, 30 ADA a month, like some people are saying. Please, guys, always do your homework, because that is not the case for this. And I would be surprised that over the next several months, if you were making more than 1 to 3 ADA per month from these distributed awards, especially as more people start staking, and especially when all of these other marketplaces are going to be implementing different things to compete, such as Free Roam just coming out, and such as JPEG Store going to have that whole jungle CNFT analytics on their website coming soon as well. That pretty much wraps up this video today, guys. And I just want to remind everyone here to always do your own research and don't blindly listen to other people. Do the math. Figure it out. And if you don't know how to do it, just reach out to me in the community Discord, and when I have time, I'll do a breakdown for it. But it was just driving me crazy. I was waiting for Free Roam to come out so I could do a better comparison, but it was literally driving me crazy to see people say, oh, you're going to make 30 ADA a month, and people who didn't take the time to research were believing in it and buying these Crocs and Toads because of it. And that couldn't be any further from the truth, at least for now, guys. But yeah, hope everyone here has an awesome day.